So you look like the Creator. Did you understand that? That's important, man. So now, Revelation chapter, you got a flyer? So if somebody asks you that question, keep this flyer. Prove it. This is what I just read. You will be able to prove that. So when you go to church, you ask them, why do we have this up here? Where did this come from? You have to challenge people's thinking. You can't just do it because your mama do it.
Right.
You can't just do it because your grandma do it. Right. You have to get understanding, ask questions, make them show you out of the Bible. That's important, right? You have to be able to prove what you know. How old are you? 14. So this is the time you're going into be a man. You got a lot of life decisions you got to make, right? So this is the time where you can get this understanding. Come here to fix us. We got to fix it ourselves.
Right.
Read.
Book of Romans chapter 13 and verse 11. That now, knowing the time, that now is the high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe.
Read that again.
And that, knowing the time, that now is the high time.
Now is high time. The time is now to change. The time is now to stop smoking cigarettes.
Right.
The time is now to stop doing drugs. To stop popping pills. To stop being an alcoholic. To be a better father. The time is now. You don't never know when your time is going to be up. Read.
And that, knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep.
We are in deep sleep. We don't know who we are. We don't know our nationality. We don't know who our God is. We don't know what he looked like. We don't know none of these things. We're walking in darkness. It's time to wake up. It's time to get our minds right. Hey, young man, come here. I got a question for you. What color is Christ? You believe in the Bible? What color is Christ? What color is he when you go to church sometime? What color is he in church? He white. So you ever ask yourself where they got that description from? What they say, what they tell you. They didn't tell you nothing. But we're about to show you in the Bible what Christ really looked like. That's important, right? Because we need to see ourselves as holy people, as superior people, because we have low self-esteem. That's why we do the things that we do. We hate one another because we don't see any value in one another. You understand? If I valued the way my brother, if I thought he looked like God, I would have a higher value for him. But we don't have a high value for each other. That's why we can fight somebody without thinking about it. That's why somebody can shoot somebody without even thinking about it. That's why all this stuff happens in our community, because we don't see no value in nobody. And we don't see no value in our own communities, right? Think about it. It's trash all over the place. People with a sane mind, they wouldn't throw stuff on the ground after they finished eating with it. Right? Do that make sense? So let me show you. Give me Revelation chapter 1, verse 4. Sorry, 1 and 1.
Revelation chapter 1, verse 1. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass.
So Christ says he's revealing himself to us. What's the word? Well, I already gave it to you. What's the root word of revelation? To reveal. He says, so when you reveal something, it's something that you didn't know. You didn't know about this description of Christ, and I'm about to reveal to you. He put it in there because he knew it was going to be changed later. You familiar with us being in slavery? You know this happened to us? You know we had to pick cotton, our backs was whipped, we was on these ships. You know all that stuff happened, right? So during that time, guess what? That's when they gave us that white Jesus that you see in that church. That's where that came from. When the white man put us in slavery, he gave us that to be our God. But our God doesn't look like that. Go to verse 12.
Verse 12.
And I turned to see the voice that spake with me. And being turned, I saw 7 golden candlesticks.
He saw a menorah. This is a menorah on my back of my hoodie. He saw 7 golden candlesticks. This is what he saw. This was a representation of the temple, of the 7 churches. Read.
And in the midst of the 7 candlesticks, one like unto the Son of Man.
The Son of Man is Christ. That's who that is. That's another name. He's the Son of Man. Read.
Clothed with a garment down to the foot, and girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
That's the first thing. Let's go over to this image. It says his head and his hairs were white like wool. So this is what you see in church, right? Is his hair white like wool? What animal has wool? Where does wool come from, you know? A sheep, right? And who hair is like that? Ours, right? That's what you say, ours? That's our hair. Your hair is woolly hair. That is God-like hair. That is royal hair. Everybody doesn't have their hair. Most of our people don't see the value in themselves. That's why they change their hair to blonde. That's why they straighten their hair. Because they don't see any value in it. They think it makes them look low or dirty. But that's how Christ's hair looks. That's important. That's how you see value in yourself. So read.
His head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow. And it
says, as white as snow, read.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
So his eyes was a flame of fire, describing him. His eyes was a flame of fire because he drank wine. But he drank wine in moderation. Is his head eyes red with wine? No. There's 2 strikes against this. This image is fabricated, it's made up, it's not real. Read.
And his feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace.
What color is brass? What's your name? Demarion? Demarion, what color is brass? Like brown, exactly, like a penny.
Right.
Like a penny. It says, his feet, read that again.
His feet like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace.
As if it burned in a furnace. So if you put something in a furnace and you burn it, what color is it? It's what? It's like a brown, it's black, right? If I put rice in the oven, it burns, it turns black. Even if it's white. Anything you put in that oven, it's dark, right? So Christ describing his feet. So if I look at your feet, is it the same color as the rest of your body? Yeah, right? So Christ was a dark-skinned man. Christ had dark skin. So you look like the Creator. Did you understand that? That's important, man. So now, Revelation chapter, you got a flyer? So if somebody asks you that question, keep this flyer. This is what I just read. You will be able to prove that. So when you go to church, you ask them, why do we have this up here? Where did this come from? You have to challenge people's thinking. You can't just do it because your mama do it.
Right.
You can't just do it because your grandma do it. You have to get understanding, ask questions, make them show you out of the Bible. That's important, right? You have to be able to prove what you know. How old are you? 14. So this is the time you're going into be a man. You got a lot of life decisions you got to make, right? So this is the time where you can get this understanding. So we're showing our history. Did you know this was in the Bible? Let's get that. We're about to show you out of the Bible what happened to us, because guess what? Our community is like, you've been outside of Chicago? Where you been at? Like nice places. You don't even know a nice place? Have you been to Schaumburg? You been to Niles? You've been, have you ever visited somewhere else? Where you been? Arizona. Okay, that's a good one. Was it nice out there? Was it clean? It was kind of clean. How was the building? Was it better than Chicago as far as on the south side? A little bit. You probably don't know what parts you went to. So there's different parts of the country. So if you go out farther, right, it's cleaner, right? When you go to the suburbs, it's cleaner out there, right? The parks look better. You know what I'm saying? You don't see people, alcoholics walking by. You don't see drug infestation. You don't see these things, right? Don't you see that over here? We see all these things. So I'm about to show you why it's like that. Read.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass.
So this is, you familiar with Moses? You know what Moses is? You went to church. So he crossed the Red Sea. He gave the Israelites, which is who this is speaking to, the commandments. After he gave them the commandments, he told them, like, if you listen, this is what's going to happen. If you don't listen, this is what's going to happen. You're going to be cursed. All right? That's what we're going over with now. You got a question? Okay, so read.
If thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So he said, if you don't hearken, you know what hearken means? It means to listen. If you don't listen, to you don't abide by, to make sure that you obey, if you don't do what I'm telling you to do, you're going to be cursed. Does that sound like a good thing or bad thing that's going to happen? A bad thing, right? So it says, read.
To observe to do all these commandments, verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
It says, cursed shalt thou be in the city. So if you think about any city that the blacks, Hispanics live in, are we cursed? What happens in our cities? Violence, right? That's a good thing. Violence. Hey, you're on point. Violence happens in our cities. What type of violence? Gun violence. What else? Fighting. Right? People get jumped. What else happens in our communities? Robberies. Right? Babies get shot by stray bullets. That doesn't happen in everybody's community. You know anybody that been shot? No? You know anybody that suffered from violence? I'm sure you know something. Right, so I'm saying that doesn't happen to everybody. You know what I mean? Like, this is a curse. You think about all the curses that go, all the things that's going on in our city, that doesn't happen everywhere else. It happens in Detroit, Chicago, New York City, Los Angeles, Little Rock, Miami, all the different places, wherever we at, all this stuff is happening. But guess what? It don't happen to everybody else's community. That's going into the curses that we was going to have. This is what's going to happen to us. Read.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
It says, cursed shalt thou be in the field. So tomorrow, look at this. That's a curse. Us having to work in these fields, that's a curse. We had to work the cotton field, the sugar cane fields. We had to work all the tobacco fields from sun up to sundown for 18, 20 hours. You work from sun up to sundown. You understand? You're working 20 hours doing that. Imagine how tired you work a job now. Just imagine having to work for 20 hours. Doing his hands bleeding, feet bleeding, no equipment, no machinery to help you, nothing.
Right.
That is a curse. Guess what? We built this country. You know who built the White House? The slaves. You know that? The slaves built the White House. We built this country from this ground up because we disobeyed God. If we obeyed God, somebody else would have built our country.
Right.
But now, since we don't want to abide by it, we gotta work all these menial jobs. We gotta do all the stuff that nobody else want to do. We gotta be the garbage man. We gotta be the bus drivers. All the different things we gotta do because we broke our laws. So right now, this is important information that you can know how to identify who we are as a people. Because what's your nationality? What's your nationality? Huh? So you African American, you black? What's your nationality? Black African American. So look, we the only people that call ourselves a color, right? Because the Caucasians, they say they white now, but the Caucasians stem from the Caucasus Mountains. They have a place they originated from. All right, Jamarian, make sure you read that flyer, bro. They stem from those mountains, right? But we have no way we can go back. Even the people that came over here, the settlers, quote unquote, they came from Britain, right? Where we come from? Africa, but nobody came to get us. We have no names. We got back over here, we lost our names, right? We lost our languages. Well, you ever actually said why would we strip down to have nothing? Why is our communities the way they are? Because people what? They killing everybody right. But why is it like that? Right, so look, I'm about to read. You familiar with Moses? So Moses gave the children of Israel, which is us, the commandments. We didn't abide by them. And God said, you got parents, right? And they give you rules. If you don't follow those rules, what happens? You get punished, correct? We in our punishment. That's what's going on. So,
What is a nation?
Nation is men leading by example. Nation is family. Nation is community. Nation is children with role models. Nation is unity. Nation is you.